The fourth determinant of South Korean foreign policy is clearly North Korea, the North Korean factor. Out of North Korean factor, I would like to mention first the North Korean belligerence or aggressiveness. After their first attempt to liberate South Korean people by failure, North Korea continuously tried to liberate the proletarians in South Korea by force. And obviously, it failed in the Korean War, and 3 million people dead. And also, Kim Il-sung continuously threatened South Korea by saying that he was going to celebrate his 60th birthday party in Seoul. The year was 1973. South Korean people was horrified. And also, until the mid-1970s, North Korean system or capability was far superior to that of South Korea. Also, North Korea showed a continuous belligerence since then. He used to send armed soldiers or armed forces to the south, either infiltration through the DMZ or through the fishing boats or the submarines to the South Korea, and killed many civilians, and kidnapped fishermen too, and kidnapping celebrities, movie stars in South Korea or in Japan or in Germany. They kidnapped many celebrities and fishermen and civilians, either killed and kidnapped. Also, North Korea exploded a Korean airline in 1981 and killed about 300 people in it. Also, North Korea bombed in the Korean meeting with the Myanmar's politicians in Rangoon and killed all the Korean politicians in Rangoon, Myanmar. And second element of North Korean factor is the weapons of massive destruction, WMD. Since 2006, North Korea successfully tested 6 nuclear bombs, including hydrogen bomb. And North Korea is presumed to possess between 20 to 70 nuclear warheads. This is a quite odd range, isn't it? The calculation of the numbers of nuclear warheads possessed by North Korea is different by the institutes. Particularly, American CIA calculates the North Korean warheads would be between 50 to 70. Other academic institutions calculate the numbers of North Korean nuclear warheads are between 20 and 50. So I said between 20 and 70 nuclear warheads. And also, Pyongyang has a capability of delivery system of these nuclear warheads. In other words, North Korea is capable of deliver these nuclear heads to wherever they want to through ICBM, the so-called Hwasong-15, ICBM. ICBM means intercontinental ballistic missiles that could reach North America. And at the same time, SLBM, submarine-launched ballistic missiles. So North Korean submarines can go anywhere in any ocean, and they can launch nuclear warheads to any countries it wants. In addition, North Korea is known to possess a massive arsenal of biochemical weapons. At present, North Korea has the second largest logistics arsenal of biochemical weapons next to Russia. And the United Nations does not have any agreements or treaties on these biochemical weapons. So there's no limitation talks or no limitation agreements or treaties against these biochemical weapons. For example, in the DMZ area, some diseases like polio for children had disappeared about 40 or 50 years ago in South Korea. But these days, sometimes one or two polio patients are discovered along with the DMZ line. So some military experts are suspicious about the deaths from the biochemical action by North Korea. And if they put this biochemical stuff in balloons, and they can put those stuff in balloons, and they can deliver biochemical stuff to South Korea with balloons. And also, Pyongyang is capable of delivering nuclear warheads to North America and Europe with Hwasong-15. This is a list of North Korean nuclear tests starting from 2006 and 2016. In 2016 September, North Korea declared that they had successfully tested small and standardized warheads. In other words, they can make the multiple small warheads which could be contained in the head of the ICBM. In September 2017, North Korea successfully tested hydrogen bomb. It's the spring of 2016. All the joint economic projects between the two Koreas stopped. For example, Kaesong Industrial Complex, and this is DMZ. Kaesong is right here. Seoul is here. Kaesong is about 30 kilometers north of Seoul. And South Korean medium-sized and small-sized companies are running the Kaesong Industrial Complex, hiring about 50,000 North Korean workers. And city tour of Kaesong, city tour of Pyongyang, and tour of Kumgang Mountain here. All these four joint economic projects were stopped because of the North Korean nuclear tests, particularly after the fourth North Korean nuclear test. And North Korea launched Hwasong-15 from this area, and the ICBM went up to 4,500 kilometers high, and horizontally it reached about 950 kilometers. If it was launched with a proper angle, like this much, it could reach to North America. It could reach to North America. From here, and go to Far Eastern District of Russia, Alaska, Canada, and over here. It could also reach to the western coast of America and eastern coast of America, New York, and particularly Washington. So North Korea is capable of delivering small and standardized nuclear warheads with the ICBM system. And North Korean leadership, particularly Juche ideology. I think you have heard of this word, Juche. Juche means self-reliance. Self-reliance economy. That's its fundamental goal. in order to defend the American embargo or sanctions, economic sanctions against North Korea. So they try to establish Juche socialist system, or they try to produce Juche rice, Juche cow, Juche, etc., etc. And Suryong system. Suryong literally means supreme leader. Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-un was the top of the party. You know, in many socialist systems, the party dominates everything. Top party dominates the government and the military. But Suryong system means that the people, Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-un, Kim Jong-il, and now Kim Jong-un, controls the party, and party controls the government. And Sungun policy is a military-first policy. It's adopted by Kim Jong-il and his son Kim Jong-un. And scholars claim that Pyongyang is a feudal dynasty with a collectivist developmental system, not a socialist system anymore. Owing to the belligerent behavior of North Korea, Seoul has had no choice but to be defensive towards Pyongyang. Currently, South Korean public opinion is split. Engagement versus sunshine policy. Engagement is a hardline policy toward North Korea. Sunshine policy is soft stance to North Korea. Obviously, the word sunshine comes from the Aesop's fable. And the sun and the wind had a gamble, because one man was walking with his coat on. The sun suggested, let's take that coat off. And the wind said, okay. First, the wind blew a strong, cold wind on him, but he grabbed his coat over his head. But later, sun provided a warm light to that man, and he took that coat off. That's the sunshine policy. Sunshine policy. So South Korean public opinion is split, either engagement policy or sunshine policy toward North Korea.